It's your boy Third back at it again with another vlog, and today we are going to do a collaboration with my group mates upon discussing the Rules 1 to 19 of Colreg, or the International Regulations for Preventing Collisions at Sea. So huwag na nating patagalin ng intro na to, simulan na natin to.
Okay, thank you so much, Third. Now let's proceed with the first three rules of collision regulation. Rule number 1 refers to application. This rule shall apply to all the vessels upon high seas and in all waters connected therewith, navigable by seagoing vessels. Traffic separation scheme may be adopted by the organization for the purpose of these rules. Rule number 2 refers to responsibility. In complying with these rules, due regard shall be had to all dangers of navigation and collision and to any special circumstances, including the limitations of the vessels involved, which may make departure from these rules necessary to avoid immediate danger. Rule number 3 refers to general definition. The term power-driven vessel means any vessel is propelled by machinery. The term sailing vessel means any vessel under sail provided that propelling machinery, if fitted, is not being used. The term seaplane includes any aircraft is designed to maneuver on the water. The term vessel not under command means a vessel which, through some exceptional circumstance, is unable to maneuver as required by these rules and is therefore unable to keep out of the way of another vessel.
Rule 4. Application. The rules in this section applies to any condition of visibility. The above section applies to all vessels and under condition of visibility that is good visibility, and as well as under poor visibility or whatever the cause it may be. Rule 5. Lookout. In this section, it requires that all vessels shall maintain a proper lookout by sight and hearing to prevent collision and any circumstances. Rule 6. Safe speed. Every vessel at all times shall proceed a safe speed so that she can take a proper action to avoid collision.
Good day. I am going to discuss the rules number 7 to 9 of the Colreg. Rule number 7, risk of collision. Every vessel must use all available means appropriate to the prevailing circumstances and conditions to determine if risk of collision exists. If there are doubts that we might collide, the risk shall deem to exist. When it comes to rule number 7, which is the risk of collision, the first thing that comes to my mind is the word awareness. Every seafarer must be aware of the risk of collision. Every seafarer must know if they're in a collision course or if they are going to collide into something. Rule number 8, action to avoid collision. Any action to avoid collision shall be taken in accordance with the rules. If the circumstances of the case admit, be positive, made in ample time, and with due regard to the observance of good seamanship. When it comes to rule number 8, which is the action to avoid collision, every seafarer must know the actions to avoid collision. Every seafarer must know what to do if they are in a collision course. Sometimes we know what to do, but we don't know how to properly execute it. So we should always have the knowledge to properly execute a certain action. Rule number 9, narrow channels. The rule number 9, which is the narrow channel, applies only on waters described by the two terms, narrow and channel. A vessel proceeding along the course of a narrow channel or a fairway shall keep as near to the outer limit of the vessel, which is the starboard side of a certain vessel. A vessel less than 20 meters or a sailing vessel and vessels engaged in fishing must not impede the passage of any other vessel that is navigating within a fairway or a narrow channel. No crossing is allowed on a narrow channel if the crossing might impede a vessel that can only safely navigate on a channel or a fairway.
Hello everyone, my name is Brian Regan and I'm here to present to you Rules 10, 11, and 12 of Colreg, which is the International Regulations for Preventing Collisions at Sea. So first up is Rule 10, which is the traffic separation scheme. It is adopted by the IMO and all the rules are still applied, all the other rules are still applied to Rule 10. So traffic separation scheme is divided in two parts, which is the traffic separation zone and traffic separation line. Traffic separation scheme is has a outbound and inbound lanes, which is the traffic flow, and you should follow the directions whether your vessel will go in which direction, whether inbound or outbound. So next is the when you are crossing the traffic separation scheme, as far as practicable, you should also avoid crossing it, but if you're obliged to do it, so you should keep at 90 degrees angle, so you can keep your intention of crossing, so the other vessels would be alerted that you are in fact crossing the traffic separation scheme. So one more thing is that when you are entering or going outside the traffic separation scheme, you should do so with a small angle as much as possible. Vessels other than crossing or joining the traffic separation scheme can cross the traffic zones when they are in danger. So that's all of it for Rule 10. So let's move on to Rule 11. Rule 11. Application. Vessels in sight of one another. Vessels are deemed to be in sight of one another when they can visually see and observe the other vessel. Failure to sight due to poor lookout is not an excuse in this section. Rules 11 to 18 is also covered in the section. And last but not least is that important definitions in this in giveaway vessel, stand-on vessel, crossing situation, and overtaking is also highlighted in this rule 11. So if you cannot visually see or observe the other vessels around you, you can refer to Rule 19, which is restricted visibility. So that was a brief discussion about Rule 11, and now let's move on to Rule 12. Rule 12, sailing vessels. This particular rule involves two sailing vessels that are in sight of one another and are in risk of collision. So you can remember three scenarios within this point, and which is the first one is the when the two vessels have the wind on each of the different sides of their port and starboard. So the sailing vessel who has their wind to port should be the giveaway vessel, and the vessel who has their wind on the starboard should be the stand-on vessel. So this is the ship that has their wind to port, and this one is a stand-on vessel. So she will pass here and then go over. So she is the giveaway vessel. So she will keep way. So the next one is when the wind has on their from their both sides, and the giveaway vessel should be the one who is in the windward, and the stand-on vessel should be the one in the leeward. This is the windward, this is the leeward, and the wind is going down here. So this is gonna be the giveaway vessel, and this is gonna be the stand-on vessel. Windward, leeward. So the next is, and the last is the vessels that has the vessel that has the wind on the leeward side, or it cannot be determined whether it is on her starboard or port. The vessel who has the wind on their port side should be the one that is giving way. Lastly, the wind can be determined whether it's going by the fore and aft sail of the sailing vessel. So that's it for the Rule 12. Those are all for the rules 10, 12, and 11. And thank you for watching. Have a good day.
I am inevitable.
Good day, I am going to discuss rules 13 to 16, and I will start by discussing rule number 13, which is overtaking. Rule 13, overtaking, pertains to that an overtaking vessel shall keep out of the way of the vessel that is being overtaken. However, the vessel that is being overtaken shall hold her course and speed until the overtaking vessel has passed well and clear. A vessel shall be deemed as overtaking when it's coming up with another vessel from a direction of more than 22.5 degrees above her beam, and this can be used as reference at night, because by the overtaking vessel, because at night you will only see the stern light of the other vessel. You can overtake from either side. You can overtake from starboard or from port, but remember to keep well and clear. It was also discussed to us prior to Rule 9, narrow channel. There was an overtake situation that was also discussed to us, that you can there are instances that you would use the sound signals. If you're going to overtake on the starboard side, you will sound the two prolonged followed by a short blast, and if it is on the port side, you will sound two prolonged and two short blasts. And the other vessel shall acknowledge your intentions by answering with the Morse code of Charlie, which is dad it, or one prolong, one short, one prolong, one short, in that order, as this means affirmative yes. And if the other vessel declined towards your intentions, she shall sound five short rapid blasts. If you are in doubt as to whether you are overtaking another, you shall assume that it is the case and accordingly. Dito din pumapasok yung rule na thou shall not. Thou shall not make the overtaking vessel and crossing vessel, because this would be a direct violation of the rules, and the rules must always be followed because it is absolute and necessary to keep the safety of the vessel as to avoid collision situations. Now, let us proceed to rule number 14. Rule number 14 pertains to head-on situations. This is where two power-driven vessels are in reciprocal courses or nearly reciprocal courses. As a risk of collision exists, each vessel shall alter her course to starboard and pass port to port. At night, the vessels would see the masthead lights and side lights in line or nearly in line. And as this situation occurs, it shall be deemed that it is a head-on situation, and you shall alter your course to starboard and pass red to red as to passing port to port, because the red side light represents the port side and the green side lights represents the starboard side. Now, let us proceed to rule number 15, which is crossing situation. In this, the vessel which has the other on her starboard side is the giveaway vessel, and the vessel that has the other on her port side is the stand-on vessel. and the giveaway vessel shall alter her course to starboard until the stand-on vessel has passed well and clear. Always remember that thou shall not cross ahead of the stand-on vessel. At night, the giveaway vessel will see a mast headlight and a red side light. However, the stand-on vessel would see a mast headlight and a green side light. And finally, I'm going to discuss the rule number 16, which is the giveaway vessel. This pertains to every vessel that are directed to keep out of the way of the other vessel shall so far as possible take early and substantial action to keep well clear and to avoid collision. This is done because if you take early action rather than later, it would give you ample time to assess the situation and it would be much safer and organized. And that is all the part that was given to me. Now let us proceed to my groupmate JC Isan, which is on his way home right now. Good day and thank you.
So, yun na nga. Sa figure na to, meron tayong vessel na kulay pula at vessel na kulay asul. Ayan. Sa figure na to, yung kulay blue ang ating stand-on vessel. Dahil siya yung may barko sa kanyang port side. At base sa Rule 15 crossing situation, kung sino yung may barko sa kanyang port side ay siya ang stand-on vessel. So, ang pag-usapan natin ay Rule 17, action by stand-on vessel. Ano ang gagawin ng isang stand-on vessel kapag nasa isang crossing situation? Well, kapag ikaw yung stand-on vessel, ibig sabihin, ikaw yung magmi-maintain sa course at speed mo. Yun. And, kapag may nangyaring aberya tulad ng hindi kayang mag-prevent ng collision yung isang giveaway vessel, at sa sitwasyon na yon, kailangan ng stand-on vessel na gumawa ng paraan, which is i-avoid, tulungan yung giveaway vessel na i-avoid yung maaaring mangyaring collision. At ang magandang paraan para sa pag-avoid na yun is mag-alter yung stand-on vessel sa starboard side at huwag sa port. Rule number 18 o responsibilities between vessels. Dito, meron tayong sinasabing hierarchy of vessels. Basta yun. Kung saan ang nasa taas ay ang vessel not under command at ang vessel restricted in his ability to maneuver. So, sumunod dito ay ang vessel constrained by her draft. Sunod ay fishing vessel, then sailing vessel, then power driven vessel, at seaplane. Sa rule din na ito, ine-exclude ang rule 9, 10, and 13. So, base sa rule 18, kung sino yung nasa pinakataas, siya ang may right sa daan. At bawal ito harangan ng vessel na nasa baba ng hierarchy ng vessels. Halimbawa ay sa isang crossing situation,
which is may dalawang barko na magko-crossing situation, at ang barko na yon ay isang not under command at power driven vessel. Ayon sa rule number 18, responsibilities between vessel, ang magiging stand-on vessel ay yung not under command dahil siya yung nasa taas ng hierarchy, and yung mag-give way ay yung power driven vessel dahil siya yung nasa baba na hierarchy. Kumbaga mas mataas yung not under command, kaya yung mag-give way is yung power driven vessel. Rule 19, Part B, Section 3 of the Colreg, conduct of vessel in restricted visibility. So, dito sa Rule 19, ini-accept natin yung Rules 11 to 18 dahil yun ay sight of one another. So, kapag sinabing restricted invisibility, ibig sabihin ng limitado lang yung nakikita natin sa bridge. Ito ay maaaring gawa ng fog, mist, rain, heavy rain, snow, ganon. At laging iniiwasan ang mga close quarter situation dahil napakadelikado nun. At laging nagpo-proceed sa safe speed. So, sa restricted invisibility, gumagamit tayo ng radar upang ma-detect yung mga vessels na maaaring nasa paligid natin, at nadidetect ng radar within 96 nautical miles. Yun ang range na nadidetect ng isang radar sa barko. So, base sa natutunan ko, kapag tumingin ka sa isang radar ay parang nating ka sa isang Cartesian plane, which is merong quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Yan. Itong quadrant 1 at quadrant 4 is the starboard side of the ship. Quadrant 2 and quadrant 3 is the port side of the ship. Okay? Yeah. So, base dito, kung meron kang barko sa iyong quadrant 1 or sa starboard bow mo, ang advisable na gawin ay mag-alter sa starboard side ang course para makapag-prevent ng collision, dahil ang maaaring gawin din ng barko na nasa starboard bow mo is mag-alter din sa starboard. Yan. And dahil doon, maaaring ma-prevent ang isang collision. Sa quadrant 2 naman, kapag may barko ka dito, quadrant 2, or sa port bow mo, ang advisable din na gawin ay mag-alter sa starboard. Dahil, para ma-prevent ang collision. Yun. Dahil maaaring gawin din ito is mag-alter siya sa kanyang starboard side. Yan. Kasi kapag nag-alter ka sa port mo, pwede kayong magbanggaan, mag-collide kayong dalawa. Kaya ang magandang gawin is mag-alter na lang sa starboard. Kasi yun talaga yung advisable, starboard. Don't ever alter to port. Pero na lang kung yung kalaban mo is nasa quadrant 4. Yun. So, sa quadrant 3, ganun din. A-alter ka rin sa starboard para ma-prevent ang collision. So, naiba tong quadrant 4, which is kapag may barko ka dito sa iyong quadrant 4, ang advisable gawin ay mag-alter sa port. Dahil kapag nag-alter ka dito sa port, maaari kayong magbanggaan nitong nasa quadrant 4 mo na barko. Diba? Pwede siyang nag-alter kang ganun, tapos nag-alter ka sa starboard, collision ang mangyayari. Yun. Tsaka, kapag nandito yung barko, hindi siya crossing situation. Overtaking situation siya. Kapag pasok siya sa 22.5 above the beam. Yun. Ng barko. Overtaking siya pag nandito. Yun.